Well, there we are live, and it is whatever day it is because we stopped keeping track of what day it is.
Renee, I think it's like Noah's Ark for us. Is today like number 40?
I do believe today is number 40 of self-elected quarantine shelter in place for the Rileys and the Funk. And what better day to have our special guest, who quite frankly, I've been clamoring to talk to ever since we started, Elizabeth, about 3 weeks ago with our daily conversations.
Yep.
This guy right here really doesn't need an introduction, but let's just go for it. So Justin Seeby, leader of the Seeby Group out of Atlanta. I can't wait to pour into everything and all your awesomeness, but I got to give everybody a little background. You built the empire that you have, starting with 279 contacts. You went from 0 to $90 million in production in a matter of a few years. Thanks for chatting with us. Now share us all the details on how you did that.
Give us all your secrets. Give us all your secrets. You know what, real quick, Renee, you're saying that you've been excited to talk about Justin all week. It goes back even when we were all in Orlando, not even a month ago or so, and getting to visit with Justin. I've been excited since then to learn all of your little secrets and be, I'm just a wannabe is really what it is.
Yeah, that was a great trip. Thanks for having me down. You know, the basketball game and everything was incredible. And meeting Elizabeth in person was awesome. So I'm glad to be on this with you guys. So where do you want to jump in, Renee? What do you want to talk about?
Well, first, I think it's very poignant now more than ever that we're navigating the obvious landscape that we are. It warrants reminding everybody that you had the tenacity and drive to go from 0 to 90 million in a matter of a few years with just under 300 contacts, which lends itself to there are no excuses. It can be done, right? And so I'm going to be direct about it. You got it done. We've been friends for many years, and I know a lot about how you did it. But what can you share a little about your journey?
Well, I mean, that journey was really created by going back to your past clients and your sphere of influence. And so, you know, when we talk about contacts, we talk about somebody who you have their name, their phone number, their mailing address, and their email for. So it's not a lead, somebody that's in your CRM. I mean, we've got 20, 30,000 of those people. It's somebody that you know. And so 80% of the average agent's business comes from people they know. And so what we did way back then was we just said, let's focus on those people. And getting, it was 3 or 4 of us, and getting 279 contacts with all the, like I said, the email, phone number, mailing address, and name seems pretty easy, but it's not. It took us months and months to actually, you know, develop that. So, you know, what we did is we just put a platform together where we reached out to those people 3 to 4 times a month. And we consistently did that and didn't spend hardly any money doing it. I think we were spending, you know, about $100 a month per 100 leads or 100 contacts. So we were spending less than $300 a month doing that. So it wasn't expensive, and it just blew our business up. I'm happy to go into kind of more in depth on that and how that looks. I mean, it's going back to the basics, and that's where you should be today. I know probably we'll talk about how do you navigate today? Well, you navigate today like you navigated it yesterday and the day before that and before the coronavirus even hit. You go back to the basics. And that's what I'm learning with my team right now is they're forced to be at home. Georgia is a state where we can show property, and we are, but we're doing most of it virtually. Closings, drive-by closings is what we call them, where they drive up, they don't get out of their car. The agents aren't going to closings, they're not going to home inspections. So we're navigating it that way, but my agents are sitting at home, and for the first time, they're kind of doing what we always say to do. And Renee, I know, and Elizabeth, you probably feel the same pain I do. It's like, wow, I sent out an email to 100 people that are friends of mine, and I got 8 responses from them. It's like, wow, you're finally doing what you should have been doing all along. And now that you have the time to do it, it's working. So people keep asking me, what are you doing differently? We're not doing anything differently. We're just doing what we should have been doing all along. And that's what's kind of blowing our business up. We're busier right now than we have been in the last 90 days. And it's because the agents are doing the basics, getting back to the basics, reaching out to people they know, reaching out to their friends, and talking about, you know, first checking in with them, and then talking about real estate after that. And we're generating a ton of leads right now.
You know, Justin, a lot of objections come up during this time for all sorts of reasons, right? And Renee and I are checking in with our people, but also our agents, and saying, okay, what can you do? Or they're reaching out to us saying, well, I don't know what to do. They have this gift of time, but they're still frozen. They don't know how to reach out or how to get past the, hi, how are you? I'm legitimately, authentically checking in on you. Is there anything you need? And that's great, which they need to be doing. After that is where they don't know what to do. So you said you're talking to your database, your people 3 to 4 times a month. What is that looking like for you guys? Are you focused on only real estate? Are you focused on COVID? What are you guys doing to touch those people?
So that's just a plan that we do all the time. That's not anything new. And I can walk you through that in a second. But going back to, a lot of the agents are like, yeah, I want to reach out to them. I want to ask people how they're doing. That's great. And then come from contribution behind that. Interest rates are at an all-time low, and so we're having them call and talk and check in with them and say, we created a chart so we know like what interest rates and loan amounts are and what they could be saving per month. And so all the agents have that, and they're checking with their past clients from 3 to 4 or 5 years ago that have 4 to 5 to 6% interest rates, and just saying, where are you at with your principal balance? And looking at this chart and going, well, basically you could probably, if you refi right now, you could be saving about $400 a month, and it would take about 1.2 years to recoup the closing costs. So it's even going further and coming from contribution, backing up the how are you, what's going on, do you need help, with something else even further. Where's your interest rate at? Where's your principal balance at? We've teamed up with our vendors, and we've got our lender vendors, and we've got them, queued up to, if people call or if people want to check in, then we're going to send an email to both, the lenders and the client and say, here's a new refi connection for you, and let them take it from there. Let them be the experts, but us give them just a general overview of what we think they could do. So, that's how we're checking in right now, and we're getting great responses from it. A key thing I'll say is, when you ask someone how they're doing, they say good. Right. So, and that's the general response we get. So we go with the next line is, can you believe how crazy it is that at the Kroger, not only is toilet paper gone, but I'm so surprised that all the frozen pizzas are gone. Like, that's not something we thought, start a conversation with them. After they say, I'm fine, go into a conversation about what's going on and get them talking, and then go into the interest rate and close with that.
You bring up such a great reminder, is that we as a culture have an autopilot reply to the question, how are you? And I notice it in all my calls that I'm making right now. We're obviously doing the same as you, as is Elizabeth, the well-being check phone calls. And when you say, hi, Justin, how are you? The automatic response is, I'm good. How are you? Absolutely. Right? But that's not the authentic answer. So you have to take a deeper dive. What we're seeing on our team and with our agents is we have some agents who have different levels of fear. Of course, we're all individual. And in the beginning, everyone was frozen saying, I'm too afraid to call. I feel like they'll think it's a pitch. And it's not a pitch. It's legitimately calling to check in. You're coming from
contribution,
yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
So, I do see that fear, and I have to remind that my agents, and you're calling them to try to help them. And it's funny, Renee, because my best friend, Brantley Davies, who I went to college with, who is one of the only people that I get to see nowadays because he works from home and comes over and hangs out with me a couple of days and then goes home for a couple of days and doesn't see anybody else. So it's nice to have him and ask him about his interest rate. And he was at a 5.25. And I was like, you can refi and save this amount of money. And he was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, so you should call a lender. He's like, all right. And I'm like, well, what's going on? He's like, well, how much do I have to pay you? And I'm like, you don't have to pay me anything. He's like, well, why are you doing this then? And I'm like, because I'm trying to help you. You're like my best friend. He's like, so you're not making any money off of this? And I'm like, no. He's like, you're just doing this to be nice. And I'm like, yes. So sometimes you got to really, share with him that, look, this is for you. Even my best friend thought I was trying to, make money or do something off of it. So sometimes you got to share that with them. Like, look, this is just for you. This is just a time where you can save money and I want to help you.
Being a resource, no matter what level, is so important. And some of the scripting we've been doing on our team is to remind people, obviously the first questions, are you okay? Are you safe? Is your family okay? How's your supply level? All of those things. But additionally, is there a need that I might be able to help you find a connection to serve? Or do you have a service or something that you have to provide that I may be a connector with someone I know who has a need? And that also starts really great conversation with everyone that you're speaking with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and the agents have to understand they're coming from contribution. I mean, what's the purpose of the call? It's not to ask them for business. It's to ask them if they need help, and then further along that go into, where their interest rate is and see if there's a good fit for them to refi. So, and it all is from contribution. So you should be excited about that phone call, and people are taking it that way. And the other thing we're learning, like especially with our ISA department, is people want to talk on the phone right now. People are sitting at home bored. And so, our ISAs are like, I used to be able to make, 150 calls to 200 calls a day. Now I can only make 75. And I'm like, why? I'm kind of like, whoa, why? And they're like, because people are answering the phone and they want to talk.
Yeah.
So it's a great time to pick up the phone and call people.
Well, and also what I'm noticing is those people that are usually more present, or I hear from more when they go quiet, it gives me a reason to check in. Another reason. I'm like, you're awfully quiet. That's not like you. What's going on? How can I help? And again, it's not pitching business. It's truly like just understanding your clients and understanding the people that you are in front of, and I hate to say marketing to, but your sphere, how they act, how they react to things, right? And those that are pretty quiet, that's an indication that, hey, it's just call, just say hi. And you're right. I'm not one to talk on the phone a lot. I've been on the phone a lot lately. So, and that's okay. Yep. People want that connection.
Yep.
So Justin, one of the similarities that we have in the way we run our team is obviously being very tech forward. And you and I have shared some conversation around the fact that now everyone, whether they were technologically advanced in their business operations or they weren't, now we all have to bring in new tools to make sure that we can stay in connection with our customers and serve them at a higher level. What are your thoughts around the continual adopting of certain tools, or this scary question some realtors ask, is the technology going to eliminate our role?
All right, let's start with, this is definitely going to redefine our business. It's fantastic because, look, it's as running a team and having agents, I know the value of going to a closing for most agents is it's that last opportunity for me to be in front of them, to wow them. But really, are we of any value at a closing? And here in Georgia, we actually go and sit at a closing table and sit there for an hour and a half, and we do nothing, and it takes 30 minutes to drive there. So you're talking about spending 2.5 hours, and we bring no value at that moment. So I think technology is going to help our clients understand that we can show property virtually. You don't have to go show 50 homes. That if the listing agent's doing a good job and doing videos, that we can utilize those videos to show the home, narrow it down to the top 3 or 4, and then if we have to go show them those houses, then we will. People are buying houses without seeing them in person, and that's fine. I mean, put it under contract, have a due diligence period, then go look at it. If you've seen it online, you've seen it virtually, it can work. I mean, we even have people who are not even seeing the house until the day of closing. So, I think that's going to change our business a little bit. Going to home inspections, things like that, really kind of are a waste of time, in my opinion. Now, if you're a newer agent, you need to go to at least 100 to 150 home inspections to understand what it is. And the way I built my business is I worked with one home inspector, Russell Spornberger. He did every one of my home inspections. And for the first 100 or 150, I went. And then after that, I knew when he wrote something up, I knew what he meant because I knew his language. I knew how he inspected. If there was a problem during an inspection, he would call me and I would go to it at that moment. I would have him send me the home inspection first. not to my client directly, so I could read it and review it. You know, if I didn't go to the inspection and neither did the client, I want to be able to read that first. And then I would send it to my client and I'd say, hey, you know, I want to talk to you. I'd call them before and say, I want to talk to you about some of these things on this report because they may seem scary. And I wanted to read through it before you did, but I know, Russell, these are what these things mean. They're not as big a deal as they look like on paper. When we're done with this conversation, I'm going to send you the report so you can review it, and then we'll schedule another time to talk about it. So I think from a technology standpoint, those things are going to be really beneficial for us. Now, I hear and I've heard, and I think the topic that you really want to talk about is, will technology replace the agent, right? The answer is no. Do you guys remember 1992, the internet? Yeah, when the internet came out, every real estate agent was like, our job's gone. You know, we had these books that had listing information in them, and we held them as tight as we could to our chest. And the only value that we thought we brought was the fact that we harbored the information. And the internet's going to all of a sudden give that to everybody. Well, no, that's not what happened. The internet didn't replace us. It actually, it enabled us to do better work for our clients. It gave us the ability to search better, to, you know, when people had to look in the books, they probably saw, you know, maybe they were exposed to maybe 15 to 20 homes before they bought one. On the internet now, if you narrow it down, you can narrow it down by looking at thousands of homes, you know, and putting your specific terms in that gets you right to a specific group of property. That means you've narrowed out the other 800, 900 homes that you couldn't do back then. So it just empowered us to do a better job for our client. Technology is not going to replace us. People want us. They want us there. They want our opinion. This is a big decision, and it's either the second or third biggest decision that people make. Marriage, kids, and then usually buying or selling houses is right there in the top three. And so, you know, they need someone there, an expert, especially with, you know, technology might almost hinder the client because they might almost think they know too much, but they just a little bit too much to make themselves dangerous, and they need us there to protect. Elizabeth, you're laughing because you probably know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, very well. Very, very well, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so in my opinion, technology is not going to replace us. It's going to empower us to do a better job for our clients, to be more efficient, to take less of the client's time actually visiting properties, to help them narrow it down to a specific few, to make the whole process even more enjoyable for them.
Efficiencies on both sides, I think, are going to be very interesting for agents to plug into. The consumer is now apt to have, you know, whether it's any video conferencing that we're all using or all the tools, the consumer is now going to be more at ease with utilizing those. So one of the things that we're talking about is, how do we include additional touch points as a form of efficiency, just like you're mentioning, in our nurturing phase when we're earning the relationship with the customer? Is maybe instead of looking at 20 homes, just like you said, Justin, maybe we're actually physically belly to belly looking at 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Because we've already done
one of the things I've been doing too, that's I'm seeing a difference in my business, because I know all three of us are very heavy on referrals, right? Same thing here. So I'm receiving a number of referrals where I don't know the buyer or the seller. And usually I'd get on a phone call with them, right? And that's the first conversation, and you're getting to know them. What I've been doing is I've pivoted, and we're doing video conferencing now. And I'm like, oh yeah, we could get on a phone call, but let me go ahead and send my link. And what that's doing is now they're feeling more of a connection. And I'm realizing those people that are interviewing other agents, those other agents aren't doing that. And so all of a sudden they feel like they've known me. They can ask my questions or ask their questions. They can look me in the eye. I can answer those questions for them. And they don't feel like we're houses or miles apart, right? So that's been a really big game changer for me that I've noticed, that I didn't think that small piece of technology would mean that much. But even those initial conversations, it's no longer a competition with me and other agents right now, because they're like, okay, what do we do next? So I love, and I'm the one who always I'm saying I'm not techie, right? And I'm loving the fact that I'm having to force technology into my business more than I have in the past, and not rely on my safe processes, you know, I go back to the basics too, but you get comfortable in that, right? So this whole time is forcing me out of that comfort zone. And that's what I'm encouraging others to do as well. I'm liking the fact that we can be more efficient and we can use technology to help us help our clients.
Putting a face with the name. I mean, and
Yeah.
you know, that, of course, you know, that you're a phone call with somebody versus a video conference the video conference can be way more impactful.
And it makes me stay focused. I don't know about y'all, but when I'm on the phone, my mind's racing.
You're not walking around. And
that's right. Right. But when I'm sitting here, like if I'm doing other things, you guys know I'm doing other things, right? Now I have to focus on the conversation, and it's good. It's a good thing.
Absolutely.
That's a good point about that. I hadn't thought of that. I don't know if that would work for Jeffrey Funk. He's a walker while he's on the phone. I think he's watching in the other room, so he'll probably do a giggle. But yeah, that's a good point. You stay still.
Yeah.
Justin, we've talked about the importance of calling your database right now more than ever. What are you advising agents to do every day apart from the phone calls when they open their laptop and they feel that crippling, oh my goodness, what should I be working on? It's difficult to forecast out as to what we can expect in all of our respective markets. Oh, what the heck, I'm just going to take a vacation. No, what should we be working on when we open our computer every day?
Well, I'm going to get back to the basics again, Renee. And you know, this is not vacation time. This is time to lean into it, and time to really, you know, put energy and effort into, you know, your sphere and your past clients, and make sure that you're, you know, reaching out to those people and staying in touch with them, and, you know, doing exactly what we've always said to do. And that's, you know, focus on where your business comes from. And that's the people you know. And so there's nothing new again to it. You know, every day it's pick a group of people and call, you know, and if you think about it, I mean, you know, I've got agents, most of my agents have been with me for 5-6 years, and, you know, they're selling 20 homes a year at least. So they've got 150, you know, past clients that, you know, they can just start reaching out to 4 or 5 a day, you know, and again, a lot of those people are answering the phone. And again, with the scripts that we're using with the interest rates and all that, finding about 1 in 10 people actually need help, you know, what's going on in COVID, but about 9 out of 10 people want more information about the interest rates, and more about talking with a lender, and more about that. So, you know, these conversations are taking a lot longer than they used to. And then it gets into, you know, talking about family and friends and things like that. And you just keep going. And we're getting a lot of referrals from that. They're like, oh, well, my friend is actually thinking about buying, and I didn't even think about it, but I'll have them reach out to you. So, you know, that's what we're doing, you know, following up with the leads that we have in our database. Like I said, we've got, you know, over 20,000 leads that are just people that have signed up on our website, just reaching out to those people. Again, the answer rate is about 3 times what it was 90 days ago. And conversation rate is up about 25%. You know, people want to talk. And so, you know, we've got plenty of opportunity out there for people to be, you know, doing better for their business and doing what's best for them. But there's nothing new. The way you run your business is new. The systems, the structure might be new, but the message is not. What you do is not new. It's the same old thing. It's just now you have some tools in your pipeline to do it a little differently, and you can do it more efficiently. And so it's just going back to the basics. I hate it that's what I always say, but it's go back and do what we've always been taught to do. And with the tools, you'll do it a little bit more efficiently, and you're going to see a much higher result rate than you've seen in the past.
To me, it's not rocket scientist, and I know sometimes it seems a little boring, but I know what works for me. I know what works for my personality. It's worked for 15 years, and now is my chance to just hone in on that a little bit more and make the tweaks and changes. But still, why recreate the wheel, right? I mean, those people that are focusing on, they know what works for them. They know how to be successful, and that's what's so cool. And I'm not even talking about just our industry. I'm talking about across the board. But even with our industry, that's what's so neat and fun about our industry, because there is not one way to do it, you know? And so we all complement each other in different ways. We all learn from each other in different ways, but it's really going back to who you are, what makes the most sense. focusing on you. I always say comparison kills joy. This is not the time to look up and be like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? What are they doing? It's like, oh, what are they doing? That's interesting. Can I use that? Can I incorporate that into what I'm doing? And if not, then that's okay, right? And as boring as it might sound, I don't care if it's boring or not. It's what works. So that's what I'm just, the eye on the, keep the eye on the ball. And I mean, you're talking about 20 to 30,000 leads. Renee talks about, we were on Morning Huddle this morning, and she was talking about all these leads that came in on their awesome website that just launched yesterday or last week. And I'm going to be honest right now. I was going, ugh. And when you're saying 20,000 leads, I was like, why don't I have 20,000 leads? Sitting here having this conversation, but then I'm like, okay, wake up, Elizabeth. But what I'm doing is working. What the heck would I do with 20,000 leads, right? It's like, I am one person. I don't have a team. And so I'm even sitting here as we're having this conversation going, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I love what you're saying at the root. I don't have to do what you're doing to be successful. I don't have to do what you're doing to serve my clients at a high level.
Well, no, and out of those 20,000 leads that we created, first off, those leads have been created for 7 years.
Yeah.
It's taken a long time.
But still impressive, Justin.
Well, they're not people we know. They're
Right.
People who don't know.
Contacts.
They're on my website. Yeah, they're contacts.
They're opportunities.
Opportunities, contacts.
Yeah.
But even that, only 47% of our business comes from that database. Meaning 53%, the majority, over $50 million in sales comes from people we know. And so, we never even started building that database until we were over 35 million in sales. That's when we only focused on our sphere and our past clients. Until we broke that $35 million mark, we didn't spend a penny marketing to people we didn't know. And right now, even though we spent a good deal of money for a period of time to break that $100 million mark. Now, right now I don't even spend $500 a year on any platform, all combined platforms like Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. I think Yelp, that we might spend about $400 a month on Yelp, and that's it. We don't spend money anywhere else. So, you build that database and then you farm it, I guess. You farm your own database. But unless you're doing 35 million in sales a year, I wouldn't be spending money on anything except people I knew.
Invest in the relationships you already have.
Absolutely.
So you are the human being who not only inspired Jeff and I, but really brought that education to our business. You are literally the human on the planet that taught us that, because we built our business. The core of our business was online lead generation and the online lead business. And then, so we did it in reverse, because what we now know is factual for agents is that you should have a plan that's scalable, and you need to invest in those first. And then as you grow, you can bring additional pipelines in, right? And you can bring online leads in because they're a wonderful tool. I want to just touch on, you both said something that made me think. The definition of a lead needs to be clarified in our industry. I am so tired of the misunderstanding, and it's both by those who say I have leads. So whether you're a broker owner or a team leader or any individual that's going to provide leads for people, or even the misconception that agents have of what a lead is. A lead, in my opinion, is, when we look at online lead registrations, the door opening to an opportunity to earn a relationship that can and should bring you business down the road. A lead is not a transaction on a platter, right? And so I think that we've had this huge misconception in our industry about, well, Zillow doesn't work, or online leads they don't work. Like, it all works. It's like, Elizabeth, you kill it at your referral-based business and your previous customers and your sphere of influence. And Justin, like, you built your whole foundation that way. It's so frustrating that agents feel certain things don't work. But I think it's because the impression or the assumption of what it is actually fractured at the beginning.
Well, I agree with that. It's funny because people have told me more times than I can count, you don't have to work. It's easy. Everything just falls in your lap. And I'm like, I work my business every single day, right? And the definition of how we're working our business may be different, but I am working my business every single day. And I have been for 15 years. And what looks like it's smooth sailing on a daily basis is really a duck paddling like hell underneath the surface, right? And do I have my systems in place 100%? Absolutely not. Am I trying to get some things better? Absolutely. But people work in different ways. And so when agents are coming, or newer agents are like, well, you don't have to work. No, it's, you know, it's, again, it's those definitions. And it's how people's expectations, right? You talk about leads, and I will pass off sign calls and leads and things like that all the time, and they get frustrated. I'm like, but you can't just call a sign call once and expect them to fall at your feet and say, okay, sold, I'm done. I mean, it's work. And I don't think, sometimes I think when agents like us are out there and it looks easier, the perception is that it's easier, that people get frustrated not understanding all the work that really goes into it. So yeah, a lead is much harder than a relationship, although relationships can be challenging in their own way as well, right? So it's just how you want to build your business, and they can complement each other. But yeah, leads are just, they're not a slam dunk like people expect or think they should be.
Yeah, I mean, to me, you know, there's definitely a difference between a lead and a contact. So a lead is what, in my world, we used to call non-Mets, people we don't know. So we're now calling them leads. So lead is somebody who signed up on your website. They put their information in to search your website to find properties. You do not have, you have not gained their permission to have a two-way conversation with them, meaning they just register to get information from you. That's a lead. Now, once they give you permission to have a two-way conversation, then that becomes a contact. And so a contact is somebody that has given you permission basically to have this two-way conversation. Yes, thank you for reaching out to me. I want more information about these types of properties in Orlando, or these types of properties in Atlanta. And that is or Austin, that is a contact at that point. But prior to them giving you that permission, they're just a lead. And you have to work the leads. And right, the average lead takes 8 types of contact attempts to convert. The average lead takes 183 days to convert to a contact, not to a closing, just to a contact, which means permission to have that two-way conversation. So you're right. Agents who look at, you know, Zillow, Truly, or Realtor.com leads, and they reach out to them one time, and they do it a day after they got it, that lead's gone. You know, speed to lead is everything. And I'm sure Renee will probably get into this, but if you're not on the phone with that lead within 5 minutes or less, and for my team it's 90 seconds or less, then they're gone. I mean, 9,000 times more likely to get them in the first 5 minutes than at 25 minutes. You know, so if you're not jumping on it immediately, you're not going to have an opportunity. And you have to do it consistently over and over. I mean, our follow-up plans are 5.5 years for leads. You know, now that's not, we're not doing that on our SOI and our sphere. You know, those are the people that we touch 4 times a month, 3 to 4 times a month. You know, those are people we know that the leads is going to take a long time to convert.
Justin, how many people do you have on your team?
So we've got 7 buyer agents right now and 3 listing agents. I've got my own internal contract to close. I've got a listing manager. I've got a listing assistant, and then I've got an operations manager. I've got 1 ISA right now, and then me. Okay,
so you have 1 ISA. And Renee, you have an ISA, right?
We have an FCA, which is a little bit of a deviation. So FCA is first call agent. Okay. We've operated our team with both an ISA and an FCA. We've been in the FCA model now for about 5-6 months, and it's working for us right now. So both work. There's trade-offs for all different dynamics, whether you go ISA or FCA. But for us right now, we've been pleased with the FCA option.
High level, what's the difference between the two? Because I always thought they were the same.
FCA is going to be, we have a series of about 5 or 6 questions. Our FCA is not licensed, so it's very structured. Gotcha. It's not in a nurturing format, and it's there to do some basic qualification to confirm email, mailing address, phone number, and some basic timeline information, and get that now customer that we know is all accurate information as far as contact information to the agent. The agent is then responsible to step in and nurture it from a real estate standpoint. ISA, Justin, you want to share a little bit about how your ISA is set up?
So our ISA is set up to where, and he's newer, you know, we've tried to have ISAs in the past, and what we've always ended up with is a lead manager per se, and never really a true ISA. We've got an ISA coach, and what's happening with our ISA is, and right now he's literally 3 or 4 weeks in. He's setting about 3 appointments a week right now. The goal is 6 to 10, but we've only given him 1 lead source. So the way he's actually working is 1 lead source, which is our website registrations, go to him, and he then takes it and tries to convert it just like a traditional ISA. Once he gets it to a point where he's booking an appointment, then right now what he's doing, because it's still so new, is he's reaching out to me or Joan, and then Joan and I are assigning it to, or telling him which agent to assign it to. Once he gets really comfortable, probably about the 6-month mark, what will happen is he will have a Google Calendar for every agent on our team, and every agent on our team has specific criteria of where they work and their preferred price range. They're not always going to get that preferred price range, but definitely the areas we take more seriously, because I've got agents that live, you know, way up north, and the way we service Atlanta, it's a pretty big area. So from top to bottom, you know, going outside the perimeter on both sides could be an hour and a half drive. We're located right in the middle, so it's like 45 minutes in all directions. But if I have an agent that lives up north, they're not going to service a listing or a buyer that's an hour and a half drive just to start the process. So the ISA will then assign it to that agent, put it on their calendar. The agent's calendar will actually have availability. And so they'll look at the agent's calendar and go, oh yeah, he's available at 2 o'clock for this appointment. So he then sends an email to that client or lead or contact at that point in time, and the agent saying, hey, I want to introduce you to one of our top agents, you know, Laura Wheeler, who works down in McDonough. She's going to reach out to you about your meeting tomorrow at 2 o'clock, and you guys take it from there. And so then he'll actually book the appointment for him. That's where we're headed. Quite there yet.
Right. Progress. All of you just explain to me stresses me out. I'm like, ooh, I don't want somebody scheduling my appointments. I'm like, maybe I'm fine staying where I am in my little range.
Well, and the other thing I'll say is, you know, we didn't really talk about this in the beginning, but you know, the way I do it is good for me. The way
right.
Great for her. The way Jeff and Renee do it is fantastic for them. You know, we all do it. None of us are right and none of us are wrong.
Yeah.
It's just the way that we do it for ourselves. And, you know, and I share my opinion here today, and that's all it is. And, you know, I could be wrong in your mind, and that's fine. It's just.
No, I don't think it's wrong at all. I'm like, again, it goes back to my statement. We all can do business in a different way and be successful. And I love it.
Absolutely. And I wasn't saying you, Elizabeth. I'm just saying people out there.
Right, in general. Yeah. Yeah.
In general, like, you know, look, what I'm telling you is not the book on how to do it. It's the book on how I'm doing it. That's it.
Well, it seems to be working for you pretty well. If people are
does.
looking at your stats and your numbers, obviously it works for you. So that's awesome.
I work for a great group of people. I'm so lucky.
Well, and I had said at the beginning when we did the intro, you know, your journey from 0 to 90 million in a matter of a few years, you've long surpassed that. I mean, your production now and the growth that you've experienced on your team has just been so impressive. Because I know you for 6-ish years now. What I know is you pour into your people, both the customers and your agents, from your heart. And that's so important. Like what, Elizabeth, we started this whole conversation every day, right? We just wanted to talk to leaders who inspired us.
Yeah.
And
people that are doing things differently and what we can learn from. And it's been, I mean, it was supposed to be just a couple people, and here we are 3 weeks later, and look forward to this. I mean, we were giddy. We're like, oh my gosh, we get to talk to Justin. I mean, that makes our day. It's really something that's been good for us too.
Well, you learn a lot from everybody. And that's what's incredible about not only this industry, and it's not even agent or broker specific. I mean, the talent in this business share with other talent, and that's incredible. And you know, that's why you have different brokerages sharing with different brokerages. You know, at least the top talent of the teams are sharing. We're all doing it, you know, and do what we can and do the best. And yeah, Renee, you kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, I always say I work for my people. You know, I work for them; they don't work for me. And I think it's just that mentality. And I didn't realize I said that until finally, after one speech I was giving, one of the agents said, you know, you realize you always say you work for us. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, and every time you speak, everywhere you're at, every time it's some way I get that in there that I work for them. But I do, I feel like I do. You know, they don't work for me, I work for them. And I think that's how you run a successful team. That's how you pour into people, is having that mentality. And Jeff and Renee, you guys are the same way. And Elizabeth, I know you don't have a team, but you know, you have the same mentality of what's best for everybody else around you. How can you better their lives? And then it comes back tenfold.
Well, it goes back to one of my favorite authors, leadership authors, and what you're talking about is leadership, and we show leadership in very different ways, right? But Simon Sinek and Leaders Eat Last. I mean, that's one of my favorite books. And I don't have a team, but we have a group that we all work together as Lux Property Group. And I'm always trying to figure out ways, how can we encourage, how can we empower, how can we better each other, not only in business, but lives. And so I am blessed to be able to surround myself with people that build me up. And I want to be that person for others as well.
Yeah.
I am so very grateful for, you know, one of the key defining factors in the career that Jeff and I have built together has been that we have been fortunate to be surrounded by other agents and top agents, Justin, Elizabeth, like you guys are amazing agents that have poured into us in an authentic, collaborative fashion. And I think now more than ever, agents, if you don't have a group that is pouring into you, find one. There's everywhere, every region, every marketplace has one, because I'm better because of what we've collaborated on, Justin. I'm better because of Elizabeth and I, and we're not in the same markets. Like, we just get to collaborate and share and hopefully say, this worked for me, it didn't work for me, avoid that trap, hey, give this a try. I'm just so grateful for these relationships. I can't even begin to tell you.
Well, I think we all are. And you know, that's what makes us all better. And everybody here helps everybody. And we all grow better and become better at what we do. And we help people out. And, you know, that's what's amazing about this industry, when you have top tier talent that is willing to share.
It's the collaboration, not the competition, that makes us better.
Absolutely.
Thank you for carving out time in your busy schedule. I know what's on your plate right now. Yep. So the fact that you would sit down with us means a whole heck of a lot. Who would have guessed that our last time traveling was when we were all together in Orlando?
I know. Yeah. And that time it happened.
I'm so grateful for that weekend. I mean, literally the wheels came off the bus right after that. And that was such a special weekend for all of us anyway, but it's even more so now looking back going, oh my gosh, I had no idea. And we all got to soak that up. I mean, that was amazing, right, Justin? I mean, the Orlando Magic and being on the court and pregame and I mean, players coming in and stuff. And yeah, I mean, it was amazing. So
it was so awesome. Yeah, I had so much fun doing that. So thank you, Renee and Jeff, for that.
It was our pleasure. And when the NBA opens up again, we will do it again.
Fantastic.
When. Justin, would you like to share with everyone how they can find you? Where are you online?
Yeah,
sure.
Shout it out.
SeebyGroup.com. It's my last name, SEEBY Group.com. That's our website. You can find us on Zillow. If you search for agents in Atlanta, Georgia, we're usually the number 1 or number 2 team that pops up. So you can find us there. I'm sure, Renee, you can find me through Renee or Elizabeth. Mm-hmm. On Facebook, it's theseebygroup.com. So like us on Facebook if you can. That'd be wonderful.
Awesome.
We adore you, friend. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Stay
Keep being
safe.
awesome. Keep being awesome, and we'll check in with you soon.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.